Hello, welcome to jQuery tutorial, chapter 32, jQuery mouse events, part 1, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about the jQuery mouse events. So, the jQuery mouse events, before understanding the content present here, let me show you a simple demo. So let me jump into Visual Studio, and just to save the time, I'm already having the form content typed. Let me copy this. Let me paste it in my HTML. Now let me do Control S. Now what I'll do is I'll push this page to the browser and let me show you how it renders there. It's a typical form which consists of first name, last name, and the select element as well as the text area element. And this is how it renders here. You can observe we have first name, last name, and the select car element and the text area element and the submit button. Now our objective is, as soon as I hover on this image, or let me call this help icon, okay, it should show some text. And again, as soon as I mouse out of this image, it should either help text. So that's what I'm telling in my slide. Like, suppose if you want to display the help text when the mouse is over on the help icon, and as soon as the mouse is left out of that image, it has to hide the help text. So how can we achieve that? Okay, we can achieve that with the help of two important mouse events. They are mouseover and mouseout. Apart from that, we have other mouse events. They are mouseleave and mouseenter as well as over. We're going to learn all these events at the end of this session. As of now, let me achieve this task. Like, as soon as I mouse over on this icon or image, I have to get the help text, and as soon as I come out of that image, the help text should be hidden. So how do I do that? First, let me show you how to do this for this first element, that is first name. It's very simple. So what I need to do is I need to identify that image. So how can I identify this image? With the help of this ID. So first let me start writing the jQuery code. I'm going to identify that element with this ID, and I'm going to tell, like, as soon as the user mouse over on that image, so I'm calling a mouse over, call an anonymous function, and this anonymous function, what it has to do is, okay, it has to display the help text. So this is the help text present here, and it's present inside the div. And how to identify this div? I'm having an ID. Let me copy the ID name, and here I'm telling like dollar ID dot. So I'm going to div dot first name. I'm going to make use of fade in, so it should appear for 500 milliseconds. Let me end up here, and that should happen for mouse out also. So let me end up with semicolon here, and this should fade out the text, not fade in. As soon as the mouse is out of that image, it should fade out. So let me do Control S. Let me go back here and let me refresh. Now observe here, as soon as I hover on this icon, it is showing like the help text first name as shown in other card, and as soon as I mouse out of that image, it's hiding the help text. Okay, similarly I have to do for all the controls present here, like select text area for this input type text also. I have to achieve that. So how can I do that? It's very simple. So first I need to identify an image, okay, directly by the tag name or with the help of source attribute. So let me tell you how to identify an image with the help of source attribute. Okay, it's very simple. What is the source of the image? We have to specify it in double quotes. The source is image slash download jpg. So this is the source of the image. I'm identified it, and this image what I'm identifying on this page is common to all the images present here. Common, it's identifying the image, okay, with the help of this source. So I'm having only one image with that source, so it's going to identify this image with that name, with that source. Okay, I hope you understood that. And after that, what I need to do is I need to display the help text when someone hovers on this image, okay, and it has to hidden as soon as the mouse is out. So what I need to do is I need to write the generic code. So you can observe very clearly, okay, the image ID as well as the div ID for each of the element. For the last name it is different, for the first name it is different. Similarly for the image ID for the cars, that is select element, it is different, and the div ID it is different. But the important thing you have to keep in mind, for the text area also it is different. Important thing you have to keep in mind, in all the elements you can observe very clearly the image ID and the div ID, it is just differing by these three letters, that is image and div. Similarly you can observe here image and div. only it is differing by ID with these three letters. So what I'll do right now is, if I need to write the generic code, when I mouse over on that image, I'm going to fetch that ID. Okay, as soon as I mouse over, my objective is to display the div, okay, which is having the help text. So at that time what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace, okay, that image ID by the div ID by I'm already having a image ID. In that image ID I'm going to replace the first three letters of img with the div. So how to achieve that? It's very simple. Now what I'll do is I'm going to create a function. The function name is div ID, and I'm going to pass a parameter called icon. So here I'm going to define a variable. The variable is icon ID. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify, okay, the ID of the image, okay, with the help of attribute method. So I'm going to fetch the value of ID. Once I fetch the value of ID, what I'm going to do is I'm telling like icon ID, okay, dot replace that. Okay, what I need to replace from that image ID, I need to replace the first three characters, that is image, okay, with the div. So what I need to do is this function has to return the div element ID. So I'm using the return function. Okay, now what I need to do is, instead of calling like this, what I'll do is dollar, I have to identify the div by ID. So the hash is fine, but keep in mind what I'm trying to do is I'm identifying an image div ID with the help of this function. So this function, what it is going to do is dot fade in for 500 seconds. Okay, and this is common to this also, but this is fade out. And let me do Control S. Now let me go back to my browser and let me refresh. Now when I over on this, you can observe we are getting first name as shown in the other card, and when I over on this, last name as shown in the other card, and your favorite car, and your comments please. So what we did is we identified a div, okay, with the help of image ID. First I identified the image ID, and in the image ID what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to replace this first three characters with this div. That's what I'm trying to do. And finally we are identifying a div element ID with the help of this method, and there I'm telling like fade in the text present inside this div for 500 milliseconds, and when you mouse out, fade out the text for 500 milliseconds. This is what we are going to do, and this is what we learned. The two important events, they are mouse over and mouse out. Okay, now instead of mouse over, we can also make use of mouse enter. Okay, it's going to work in the same fashion. And instead of mouse out, we can make use of mouse leave. This also provides the same functionality. Let me refresh, and you can observe you don't find any change here, and it provides the same functionality. And apart from that, you can also make use of another important event method, mouse event method, that is over. So what over does is it takes two functions. So instead of mouse enter, what I'm trying to do is, so what over does, you can observe here, it's going to take two functions. So let me delete this, let me specify comma here, Control S. It's taking two functions as a parameters to it. Let me go back and let me refresh. You can observe still it works fine. Okay, you can observe very clearly. You can achieve the same thing with the help of these methods also. Mouse over, mouse leave, mouse out, mouse enter, and over. Over, it takes two functions as a parameter. So the first function, it is identifying an image and it is passing the help text and it is fading in. Okay, the second function, it is identifying element and it's fading out. It fades out. Okay, now this is what the mouse events are. Okay, and we learned the importance of all these events present here: mouse over, mouse leave, mouse out, mouse enter, and over. And in the next session we are going to learn the second part of it. In the sense, we are going to learn the other mouse events. Okay, I hope you understood with this. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting this URL. You can also follow us on Twitter. For further reference of our website, we are on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback. Thank you. Have a great day.